25?
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, like things like this with like prepositions sometimes mess me up.
Which
Oh, yeah.
it's A, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Idioms, right? Is that what you mean? Or preposition?
Yeah.
I guess it's on the
It is
preposition.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like-
preoccupation on doesn't sound right. I mean, to me it doesn't, because I've read a lot about words with preoccupations, preoccupation with, right? That idiom. So I gave you that list of idioms. I'm not sure if that's on the list, but that's something where we'll use Quizlet to work on too. What I may do is, like you're already reviewing vocab in the articles, maybe some some idiom kind of stuff we could add to it. So just because the best way, I mean, if you can spot this stuff, like the most memorable type of lessons I've learned in grammar come from things I can actually remember reading, right? Like I remember reading certain articles where it says like, preoccupation with, I can picture that in like a good article I've read. In the Florida Today, again, I'll be like, preoccupation with, preoccupation on, you know, preoccupation in, whatever, it's all the same. But preoccupation, it should be preoccupation with. And type of reading, and the idiom list would prove that pretty easily. What question number? 13.
Oh, I had a question.
Any questions?
What's wrong with it?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? Yeah. Do you think something was wrong with it?
Yeah, I thought
That
was wrong.
Yeah.
It sounded,
be acceptable too?
yeah, instead of like will be, I thought it was.
Oh, like parallelism. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is trying to like this is the double-edged sword of having learned these grammar rules, is that you start doubting yourself if it's right. Like if it sounds like you think there should be a problem with it. Having read these 20 common grammar mistakes, you're like looking for problems everywhere. Some of these will be fine, right? You just read it. I read this like that will satisfy the demands of the workers and be acceptable to all levels of management. Does that sound right if you say it out loud?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it doesn't sound right, then it's probably a parallelism thing. But if it sounds right, just go with that gut instinct. Yeah, trust your ear, trust your instinct for the most part. The only thing we're trying to retrain your ear, because your ear has become accustomed to things like preoccupation on. And that's where we're trying to retrain it. But if your ear thinks this sounds right, it probably is. Specifically, especially after having gone through these mistakes and realizing what's wrong.
I hate questions where there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
why do you ask me this question?
Oh yes.
What's the point?
What's the point?
You want me to
It's
solve?
a zero-sum game, yeah.
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 19.
19?
Yeah.
In those cities. Yeah, involved in is fine. Rarely involved in. In those, I can imagine how A would sound
Yeah.
kind of wrong. In
I-
those cities,
I prefer.
it's E, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that, or in those cities in which public transportation is adequate. Yeah, I mean, you'd probably want to think in cities. If those is unnecessary. And you know, I don't know what the context of this sentence was. I would prefer to write in cities rather than in those cities, but it doesn't scream out as being wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't like a way. And the grammar rules plus the reading, read, and those kind of errors should be. Like, if you don't mind, how many questions did you get wrong in this section? About that warned like 4. Yeah. So, and do you know about how many questions you used to get wrong beforehand? Was it more? Or?
Maybe a little more like 6. Or
Okay. So yeah, it's a good little improvement in there. And if you're getting 4 wrong, you know, just try to bring that number down to 1 or 2 at most. Will involve a lot more reading and practice. Yeah. Because now you shouldn't get that wrong. Like in those cities, like if that happens again, you won't get that wrong.
23. That was another thing that was kind of similar. That one, I understand how that sounds.
Did you say
right.
A? You said A, or what did you
No,
say?
I was just wondering, could you say like instead of after graduation, could you say like after graduating instead?
Yeah, I mean, you could, after graduating,
Instead of.
but sometimes you kind of will. So there's a key difference there between after graduation and after graduating. After graduation kind of implies that he's talking, like he's thinking about this post the fact of graduating. After graduating is like, I'm thinking about what I'll do after graduating. And the whole sentence appears to be retrospective, right? Where he wanted to travel around the world after graduation, but sometimes he thought about taking a job. So you notice how like taking is, he already graduated.
Okay.
So he thought about taking, he isn't thinking about taking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do 26?
Impressed with is fine. Right. Carlos, the word Carlos. Oh, okay. So when the foundation awards a grant to people, it should be, like, whenever it's Carlos and I or something and I, it should be, you read it as like each individual, right? So think about like the foundation awarded Carlos a grant, right? Think about that. If that makes sense, that's fine. But then then you consider the second part of that, Carlos and I. The foundation awarded I a grant.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how you read those. Those always used to trouble me, but the way you should break it down and be like, it doesn't make sense that the foundation awards Carlos, and doesn't make sense that the foundation awards I. It should be me. So the foundation awarded Carlos and me a grant. Like you and I should go to.
Be able to do it separately.
Yeah. Well, like if you can say like you and I should go to the movies. It's not you and me should go to the movies, because if you remove you and, it should be me should go to the movies.
And you can mumble, right, to yourself, because it's so often
Yeah.
when you hear it audibly yourself, it's different from just reading it flat,
Yeah.
but when you actually hear it, it's like, oh, you know.
I mean, exactly, right? Like, so maybe you guys will be the only few people in the test room on October 4th who are like doing that. But like, if you guys happen to take the test in the same place, power in numbers, just read as loud as you want. They can't kick all of you out. So maybe one or two has to be sacrificed for the greater good. But no, just make it a habit to read it out, mumble it to yourself, because I think you'll catch a lot more things if you do that.
I see people walking out of the test. You hear those kids talking to themselves?
Yeah.
God, I hate that.
Don't worry, I won't say that. You'll get accustomed to reading it very softly.
Yes.
If you're going to say stuff out loud, say stuff like, the correct answer on number 7.
So that's one thing I was thinking about, the benefit of you guys doing this together, and what I want to stress about collaboration and not competitiveness is that you guys literally aren't competing against each other. Like there's a lot of people out there who are taking the same test, and there's only like 10 of you total. There's thousands, tens of thousands of people who take the test, right? Just 10 of you doing really well won't screw up the curve. They won't suddenly raise the PSAT qualifying for national merit to like 225. It's only like 213 right now. That should be pretty easy if you keep doing this. This is only test 4, and a lot of you are scoring around there. They won't raise it just based on you guys. So it's all about you guys working together and helping each other, because I think all of you can get national merit. And all of you can get, at least bright futures for sure. I think a lot of people want to go out of state. Then you can get a scholarship there too. So you aren't competing against each other, especially even for like college admissions too. You guys go to different schools, and a lot of schools like for my year we had a person go to Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and a few other places, but we all got into our schools, what schools we wanted to go to. I'm sure at Holy Trinity you got a lot of spread out people too, people who go to a lot of the same schools. It's up to you. It's not, don't let it, like, improving yourself is number one. It's never good about, not sharing it. Like when I go to med school, I'm not, like a lot of the strategies, things I'm picking up here, which would be a good transition actually, like Quizlet, which I'll show you maybe. There's a site called Quizlet, which I have Jacqueline starting to use and see if she can apply it. That allows us to make a group, like a team list of cards, index cards, vocab words, collective group of vocab words, as well as idioms, maybe the grammar questions, etc. That you can put on and share with each other. these index cards. And the good thing about Quizlet is that you have constant access on your iPads, on your mobile devices, so whenever you're bored, you just flip through the cards to remember them. As well as their games, it isn't just flipping through cards, there's games associated with it. For example, the faster you flip through it, like, I mean, there's pretty lame games compared to like Xbox or something, but they're still more interactive than just flipping through cards. So you can play with that. Plus, the good thing about having electronic cards is they know which ones you are struggling with, which vocab words you're struggling with, and they'll keep showing those ones over and over until you start getting them right. And this is not just for vocab and grammar and math, it's also for like history, I'm going to be using it in med school already. And what I was saying with competitiveness is that you guys share these things because, like, say two of you are in AP history together or AP language, share the things then too. In med school, I plan on sharing them. You can embed the list of cards on a website, so everyone who goes to the website can use those. But arguably, the person who actually writes down the cards probably will do better because they've written down the cards. That's why I don't like using other people's cards. I like making my own cards and then sharing from there. So Quizlet, you look for email about that. It's a card-based way to learn your vocab and your idioms and your grammar. Anything else here?
28.
28. So, multivitamin tablets. It's C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The quality of multivitamin tablets is determined. So right now they're talking about quality, right? Quality is determined. You see the subject?
Yeah.
Is the verb. I always was like, how is a verb? It doesn't sound like a verb. But if you take Spanish or something, it's a star or stare. So the quality of multivitamin tablets is determined by how long its potency. So is not like this. It's no longer a good way to refer to the subject because its is actually referring to multivitamin tablets. So it should be is determined by how long their potency can be protected. You see that?
Yeah.
Like, just be short. Like again, if you read that out loud, like, read that out loud right now afterwards.
The quality of multivitamin tablets is determined by how long it's
Yeah, and you didn't have to. Hopefully, you didn't contrive that. Otherwise, you're a good actress.
No, it's good. Now I say it.
But eventually, it'll be pretty easy to detect that way.
Okay. I wasn't sure it should be. Okay.
Cool.